Sonic the Hedgehog 2 was both a critical and financial success, and to this day it's the best-selling Sonic game of all time. Sonic had officially achieved what he set out to do, give Nintendo something to sweat about and make a lasting impact on the video game industry as a whole. Sega wanted to take Sonic even further. He had 2 TV shows, 2 comic book series for both an American and a European market. He even had several deals with other companies such as Honey Nut Cheerios and even McDonald's. Everyone wanted Sonic's mug on their product, and those that didn't wanted to replicate his success, with few actually succeeding. We all know how popular Sonic 2 is, but what if I told you that Sonic 2 was originally supposed to be much bigger and that it was being developed for the Sega CD, a CD add-on for the Genesis? Due to Sonic's popularity in the West, half of Sega Technical Institute, including Yuji Naka, moved to San Francisco in the US to develop Sonic 2. Since this happened partway through development, this left Naoto Oshima and his team to work on whatever they had back in Japan. This resulted in the creation of Sonic CD, the only thing keeping the failed add-on from going into the depths of obscurity. The game has been remastered for online markets, but for the sake of this review, I'll talk about that at the end of the video. Some of you may remember that I did a review of this game before taking it down. To be perfectly honest, I wasn't satisfied with the quality of my videos, and that review especially, because of my forced angry persona. But enough about me. Did the change in format change Sonic for the better? Well, there's only one way to find out. If you wait a few seconds on the title screen, you'll be greeted by this awesome FMV intro of Sonic racing towards his destination. Dr. Robotnik has returned once again, and this time he's taken over Little Planet, a small planet that appears over a place called the Never Lake. By collecting the 7 time stones found on this planet, Robotnik was able to go back in time and use his robot army in the past, so Sonic can't stop him. When Sonic reaches the planet, he's surprised to find it already swarming with Robotnik's creations. If that wasn't bad enough, Sonic also encounters new character Amy Rose, who is the equivalent of a Sonic fangirl. Here's a cool bit of trivia for you. Did you know that this is technically not Amy's first appearance in the Sonic franchise? Her actual first appearance was in a 1992 manga created by Tanaka Kikuchi. In it, Amy was the girlfriend to Nikki, a young hedgehog with confidence issues that had the ability to mysteriously transform into Sonic when put under stress. As for Amy's character, I have much more to say about her when we get to Sonic Adventure, but for now, here's what I've got. We all know the story of most Mario games. Bowser kidnaps the princess, Mario travels to her castle and gets a kiss at the end. It's your standard fairy tale story. Since Sonic is trying to be the exact opposite, he sees Amy as more of a minor annoyance and a pain at her worst. Sonic is more interested in adventure and blood-pumping action, not saving damsels in distress, and soon enough, Amy does get kidnapped by Metal Sonic in the second zone of the game. However, this isn't, nor does it feel like, your main objective, because even when you save Amy in Stardust Speedway, Sonic just continues on to Metallic Madness. Compare this to Mario and Zelda. Saving the princess is usually the last thing that you do. Even in the ending FMV, Sonic just speeds off before Amy can even show her gratitude. To him, Amy is just another fangirl out of the so many that he might have. He is a hero in this world after all, and if we're talking in a real world sense, Sonic was on top of the world at this point. Now time to talk about level design. Throughout your adventure, you'll come across these past and future signposts. By travelling with a consistent amount of speed, Sonic will travel back and forward through time. What you need to do to get the good ending is to go back and destroy a robot generator in each act. More on that later. If you fail to do this, when you go to the future or reach the boss act of a zone, the entire level will be turned into a robotic wasteland. I like this, it symbolises the importance of your mission. In Sonic 1 or 2, we're always told the world will fall into chaos, but we're never actually shown the consequences of what happens if the player doesn't get the Chaos Emeralds. What I also like is that when going to a different time, some of the level layouts will be altered. And if that wasn't enough, the level's aesthetics and music changed to reflect the time period. For example, in the past, Palm Tree Panic is much more greenery, whereas in the present it is predominantly a mountainous region, and the music will sound very prehistoric. Another example is in the level Quartz Quadrant. In both past and present, it's just a simple diamond mine. However, if you achieve a good future, it will be turned into a futuristic city. One cool touch that you may not have noticed is the fact that in both the present and future, the Badniks will be significantly damaged. but if you go into the past, they look brand new. Even the bad futures have some pretty cool visuals, like the neon lights in Collision Chaos, or the Robotnik statues found in Tidal Tempest. Metallic Madness's good future makes the final boss seem so anticlimactic. A blue sky? That isn't exactly threatening. Now there we go, a dark and gritty atmosphere and even a giant power generator in the background. Speaking of bosses, I really like them. Well, okay, not all of them are perfect. The chicken walker is over in a few seconds, and this pinball boss is extremely frustrating, mainly because Sonic doesn't curl into a ball while on the flippers. But aside from that, the others are pretty cool. Tidal Tempest's boss has Sonic and Robotnik fight underwater, with Robotnik surrounding his Eggmobile in air bubbles. You have to breathe in all the air so that you can finally hit the cockpit. That may sound easy, but Robotnik does shoot small projectiles that can be hard to spot if you're not paying attention. Second, you move a lot slower in water, and third, it's better than just bouncing on the boss without any effort. Some fights even take advantage of Sonic's speed, like here where you're running on a treadmill, and the faster you go, the more of Robotnik's machine you shred. Also, have I mentioned that the opening and ending cutscenes look amazing for 1993? They're fast paced and very well animated. This is coming from the same company who animated Dragon Ball Z after all. To top that off, you have one fantastic soundtrack. Or should I say, two fantastic soundtrack. Yeah, the US soundtrack is completely different from the Japanese and European soundtrack, with the exception of the past themes because they're hard-coded into the game itself. I'm fine with both soundtracks. I like the ambience of the US tracks, but I also like the disco-centric nature of the Japanese soundtrack. Unfortunately, this is where the positives end for me. I may like the visuals of each zone, but the level design just falls flat for me. For starters, because you have to hunt down a robot generator in each level, you may find yourself stopping and making sure that you don't miss it, because these generators are not usually on the path to the goalpost, forcing exploration rather than encouraging it with hidden items and such. This can also lead to the level being more vertical than horizontal, meaning that most of the levels are very short if you're holding right and jumping. I wouldn't have a problem with this if these levels didn't have a bigger sense of danger. In the previous games you'd come across obstacles that would crush you, or other hazards like lava or bottomless pits. Here, however, the levels are more annoying than challenging, like these bumpers in Collision Chaos, or this bouncy floor found in Wacky Workbench that launches you up to the ceiling only for you to fall down and hit the floor again. Stardust Speedway is even downright confusing. You could be going around the same loop over and over again and you won't be getting anywhere, and the game doesn't do a good job of directing you to where you need to go. Furthermore, I stated that you need to keep your speed going if you want to travel through time. In pre-2011 releases, the collision detection isn't as polished as Sonic 1 or 2, especially when going through speed tubes, so on occasion you may miss your chance at going to the past because you got stuck for a brief moment. I've also got an issue with the spin dash, because you have to charge it up to a certain point before letting go of the button, unlike Sonic the Hedgehog 2 where the spin dash is instantaneous. Sonic can use his new move, the Super Peel Out, that functions much like a traditional spin dash, but you leave yourself open to attack. And if you're using the time stone method of getting good futures, then you'll need your rings. Special stages are once again a problem. You run around trying to smash UFOs. The key word there is try, as you can easily jump over your target, and the frame rate in these stages could even give Sonic Boom a run for its money. FYI, don't touch the water, not even for a split second, because you have a time limit and it will become much shorter if you do so. Also, am I the only one that finds some of these backgrounds completely distracting? I'll grant you that they look nice, but ones like this just give me a headache. Some of you may have noticed that I neglected to mention Metal Sonic in the character analysis, and that's because I don't think he leaves much of an impact. Sometimes in the levels you may find a hologram of Metal Sonic abusing animals. I get that that's supposed to make him more menacing, but Robotnik does that anyway, so it really doesn't faze me. Metal Sonic really doesn't have that much of a presence in Sonic CD. He'll show up in Collision Chaos to kidnap Amy, and then you won't see him for the rest of the game. He doesn't show up to fight you or try to impede your progress in any way. While I like the racing style of Speedway, he gets knocked out by a shutter door, so you don't really get the satisfaction of beating him in a one-on-one fight like Silver or Mecha Sonic in Sonic 2 and 3. If you ask me, Metal Sonic should have shown up after the race as the final boss to prove himself worthy as being Sonic's equal. Now it's time to talk about the 2011 release, remastered by Christian Whitehead, or Taxman as most people know him. What he's managed to do is rebuild the game with his own physics engine. This means that travelling to the past and future is much easier now. Special stages now run much smoother and your jump only goes high enough to reach the height of the UFOs, giving you a much easier time when getting the time stones. This game also allows you to choose between from the original Spin Dash or the Sonic 2 style Spin Dash. Other additions include having both access to US and Japanese soundtracks, and having the ability to play as Tails, Power of Flight and all. Do I think this game is much better with these refinements and added features? Yes. Do I think that this is the best Sonic game ever, like so many others? No. In fact, I think this game is honestly very flawed. It seemed like everyone jumped on the bandwagon of this game being so much better now that the physics have been improved, dismissing all of the other glaring problems that this game had. Even before the remastered edition was released, people were still putting this on a pedestal, so my point still stands. Is this one of the worst Sonic games? Not even close. I just find it odd how fans of the Adventure series get accused of being nostalgically blinded, when this game isn't as great as fans would have you believe. Tune in next time when we cap off the classic Sonic the Hedgehog series with Sonic the Hedgehog 3 as well as Sonic and Knuckles. Before we end this video off, I'd like to take some time to talk about the Sonic 1 and 2 remasters for smartphone devices. Most Sonic fans will be familiar with Sonic Genesis, a port of the original Sonic the Hedgehog that was horribly butchered. It had a ton of slowdown, the screen crunch made it really difficult to see where you were going, and for a game that was sold at full retail price, it didn't really add any extra features besides the Spin Dash, which was included in other ports anyway. I thought I'd bring this game up now because it would be redundant to give it its own video. Thankfully, Mr. Taxman not only used his retro engine to make Sonic 1 and 2 even better, but he also zoomed out the game, giving you plenty of room to see where you're going, and you've even got content exclusive to this version, like playing as Tails and Knuckles in Sonic 1. In Sonic 2, that pit in Mystic Cave Zone has been taken out in favour of adding the Hidden Palace Zone, a level that was supposed to be in the final game but was taken out for time constraints. The only problem I have with this port is the lack of physical feedback, but a Bluetooth controller should remedy that just fine. Pick them up when you get the chance, they're great value for your money and you won't regret it. Thank you guys for watching today's video. If you enjoyed this video and want to show your support, throw me a like and maybe even subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. If you want to see more of my videos, click the annotation to watch my video on Sonic 2, or my series on the Archie Sonic the Hedgehog comics. I'll also have an annotation for my next video whenever that gets uploaded. Once again, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.